I am just gonna say a few things about what it's like to live with a smoker and then what it's like to live with a non-smoker, with a quitter. So when Jay and I got together, he didn't smoke. He started smoking in college. We've been together since we were 19. And when he went to college, he started smoking. And that never stopped. It never stopped. It wasn't just a social thing. It wasn't just a party thing. He became addicted right away. Right away, he was addicted to cigarettes. And he promised he'd quit a million times before we got married. He promised he'd quit before our son was born. I know he tried a lot of times, dozens and dozens of times he tried to quit, but failed over and over and over and over and over again. Partly because he was doing it for me and doing it for other reasons other than him actually deciding this is what's going to happen. So living with a smoker is expensive. Living with someone who regularly tries to quit is emotionally exhausting because nicotine withdrawal is nasty attitude for like the first 3 days, and then you get like you get cycles of 3. So the first 3 days, awful. Then day 21, so 3 weeks, awful. There's something that happens at these stages as their body like starts to purify. So we did it. We've done it a couple times. He's quit cold. He tried quitting cold turkey a million times. It never worked. He attempted to quit using the patch, the gum, the pill, Champax, which he was really successful on for a long time. But if you forget your medication, or you go out of province for work and forget your medication for the week, you're screwed. There was side effects with the medication. It gave him really bad headaches. You get headaches no matter. When you withdraw, you get headaches anyway. But this December, it will be 2 years that Jay he's a quitter. Hasn't smoked a cigarette in 2 years. He hasn't bought a pack in 2 years. And the difference in our life, like people who go through watching a loved one with an addiction, often people you hear talk about it, it's alcohol, substance abuse from illegal drugs or prescription drugs or whatever it is. You hear a lot about that. But smoking's kind of considered a social norm. So when you quit or you don't quit, people are like, oh, you should quit. It's not, you don't really see the heartbreak behind it, because cigarettes, so we live in Ontario. For anyone who's watching this who doesn't know that, most of you know that. And cigarettes in Ontario right now are like $15 a pack. And my husband was smoking a pack a day. So add that up. That is $450 a month in cigarettes. We have 4 children. We have a mortgage. We had broken down cars that never worked, that always needed being repaired. $450 in just cigarettes is what it would cost us right now. It was costing us, they were about $11 a pack, so it was about $330 a month. But on top of that $300+ a month, Jay would go out every single night to Tim Hortons, because here, if he wants a cigarette, he has to go outside and sit alone. So he would go into town to So he'd drive, use fuel, use our vehicle, wear and tear on our vehicle, and then he would buy coffee and donuts. And when he would go into the gas station to buy cigarettes, he would buy a Monster Energy drink or a bag of chips or beef jerky or whatever. It added up so much. It ended up being, it was like $20 a day that he was spending on, because of this addiction, because of this need that he had, this reliance he had on nicotine. So $20 a day ends up being $600 a month for an addiction. And put that in perspective. To put that in perspective, that was our groceries. That was, over half of our grocery bill for the month to feed our kids. That was repairs to our cars. That was, I had to budget, literally had to make sure there was money in the bank account for him to be able to buy cigarettes, because him not having them was awful. It was awful. And he would be angry and just, a lot of those memories are gone now, because thank you, Lord, it's been 2 years, but it wasn't good. So that was part of our life. And Jay did not smoke name brand cigarettes. Let's put that into perspective as well. He wasn't buying the top brand. He was still spending that much money on cigarettes. So 2 years later, there is a black Dodge Grand Caravan, 2017, sitting in my driveway, because we can afford it now. We make payments on that car, and payments for that almost brand spanking new car is less a month than his addiction. I can go to the grocery store and I do not have to worry about whether I can buy enough groceries and have enough money in the bank for him to go get cigarettes. So anyone who says that cigarettes are not a drug, that are not substance abuse, they're wrong. This is a serious issue. It is a serious issue in Canada, in the United States, and I'm sure many other countries where this is a big problem. I would rather him smoke marijuana, because it just, I don't know. I actually wouldn't. He doesn't want to smoke marijuana anyway. But he doesn't drink alcohol, and he doesn't do drugs of any kind. He has a prescription that he now takes, which actually really helped him get off of his cigarette addiction, because he was self-medicating, basically. Jay has adult ADHD, and nicotine is a stimulant, so it was self-medicating him. But now he is on a medication that costs like $20 a month, and it does the same thing for him. And we don't have the major side effects that went along with cigarette smoke. When my kids someone asked me separately, I didn't know what my kids had said. They just asked me, what's the biggest difference you see since Jay quit smoking? And the very first thing that came to my mind is, he's here. He's at home. He spends time with us. He will do things with our family. He's here. We see him more, because he was going out and sitting on the front porch or driving to town, and when he would go out, 20 minutes, and then an hour and a half later, 20 minutes again. It takes a huge chunk of your time away from your family, away from the people you care about. And I found out later that they had also asked my kids what's the biggest difference you've noticed since Daddy quit smoking? And they said, he spends time with us. He's with us. He spends time with us. We get to see him more. He's not running off to a crack house and shooting up with needles, but he was still very absent from our lives. And now he's here, and we are way more financially stable than we ever were. And he doesn't do the whole, like, if we're in an argument or if things are getting chaotic, oh, I need a cigarette, and disappears. Like, he doesn't have that anymore. I think he misses it sometimes, having the excuse to just get away for a minute. And I'm fine with him needing that space. I need it too. But it's nice that it's not, it's rare. He goes into town to hang out with his buddies like once a week now. He'll go in, drop Brooklyn off at her gymnastics and meet up with somebody. And before he was taking Brooklyn, before her gymnastics cycle started, it was like once a month he was going into town. Like, it went from every night to once a month. Like, that's a huge difference in our lives. That's a huge difference in our home. And I'm really grateful that he stuck it out. And I'm really grateful that it's like not even, he hates it now. Like, he smells people and he's like, oh, it's so bad. And I was like, I know. I lived with you for over 10 years with that. And I was, he was like, was I really, like, did it smell that bad? Yeah, it did. He would come in, especially like on a rain. So it's a really rainy day right now. And so like a cold, rainy day like this, when your clothes get damp, the cigarette smoke just clings to your clothes. And he'd come in and he'd hug me and I'd be like, oh. And he has a beard and it would cling to his beard. And I just think, like, our babies, our kids, just cuddling him and breathing that in. Now it's not a thing. That is not what their daddy smells like anymore. Their daddy smells like, well, he smells like hydraulic fluid a lot now from his job. But cigarette smoke is not what they're going to associate their dad with anymore. And Ben, I don't think Ben even remembers. Ben's only 5, so he was 3 when Jay quit. I don't think Ben even remembers his daddy being a smoker, which is super, super cool. That one of our kids will never have that in their head. Brooklyn remembers it a little bit because Brooklyn remembers everything. And Ethan and Justin, I think it's fading. The memory is fading, but Ethan remembers everything too, so that'll probably stick around for a long time. But that's a big difference. So if you are like thinking, what's the big deal? My wife, husband, brother, sister, mom, dad, these people are giving me grief about smoking. This is the difference. This is the difference between life with someone who has an addiction and life with someone who breaks free from that addiction. It's night and day. And nicotine is a drug, period. Nicotine is a drug. And you're a drug user. When you are a smoker, you're a drug user, period. You are wasting money. You are prioritizing a drug over other things in your life, over other people in your life. And there are so many ways that people can help you get away from that. And if you are watching this and you decide that you want to quit smoking, you can message me and I will cheer you on and I will pray for you and I will send you the app that Jay used that really helped keep him motivated. It was super funny. It's just like every day they would say, these are the things that have changed now that you've been smoke-free for a day. And these are the things that have changed now that you've been smoke-free for 3 days. And that was really cool for him to see that visual affirmation of you are making a difference. You are changing something about your life. Every day that you do this, you're changing something. So just thank you, God, that Jay's not a smoker anymore and that our family is free of it. And I pray that it will never come back in our life. whether it's through Jay or whether it's through our kids. I never want it back in our life. So that's all I have to say.